There's no blueprint on how to beat me.
They got an ad with him.
Joe Louis had come out of retirement to fight Rocky Marciano. The man was 76 years old.
Your biggest payday is facing me. Without me, you're not getting shit.
One down, one to go.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Allow me to demonstrate the skill of Shaolin, the special technique of shadow boxing.
Now that was a great boxer.
Damn right.
Kill him, buddy. The head will die. I'll leave Frazier fight.
Ding ding. Okay, I'm gonna give you an extra. I have a question for you. And this question comes with what I just recently scrolled past my phone, and I just felt like I had to ask you. So some resale. So I guess round 4. Ding ding. Recently. So speaking of Dustin Poirier, the last time we saw Dustin Poirier, he was in a bout against the notorious Conor McGregor, which ended with Notorious breaking his, was it shin bone? Was it a shin bone? Was it shin bone? Breaking a bone in his leg. Breaking a bone in his leg. Now, this, of course, sidelining McGregor for, for however long, whatever the case may be. And McGregor has been in consistent rehab. And we've seen, perpetual posts and all types of things going on with Conor while he rehabs himself. He almost got in a fight with MGK. I'm going to be honest with you. Did we do a two to the body about that? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, we did.
We did talk about that. I still stand. I still stand on the simple fact that McGregor can kill him and everybody around him. Let's just be real. But anyways, a recent image just surfaced with Conor McGregor, an image of him looking jacked out this world. I think Conor McGregor is saying that he's like 190.
Yeah,
almost close to 200 pounds.
Yeah, it's basically his walk around weight.
Now, the question I asked, because it's clear that Conor McGregor never stopped training, right? He probably trained in a way where he didn't, work his legs or whatever the case may be, or his leg, but he never stopped training. So the question I have for you is that the additional weight that Conor added on, because it's clearly bodybuilding weight, right? It's clearly like muscular, like weightlifting weight. The question I have for you, one way, Renzo, do you think a man with a questionable gas tank, do you think that is a good idea? If this weight he's gaining is going to serve him or punish him? What is your thought?
I think this man got at least 6 months before his next fight, and he just since he couldn't work out for real because of a broken leg, as he got heavier, he just decided to tone that shit up, and he's just big because he's on vacation. Yeah,
you think so?
Yeah. Oh,
so you think it's just all? You think it's just all hype beast?
Oh, definitely. He just likes the way he looks right now. This is like I would liken this to a picture of Caleb Plant that surfaced. Matter of fact, I'll take it way back. You remember those pictures about that Deontay Wilder dropped that were about a month and a half, 2 months before the fight, and he just looked huge and shit, and he didn't look that big when they were fighting? It's just one of those. Like, that weight's gonna be gone when he gets a fight. He's just bigger right now, but instead of being fat big, he is in shape big. Like Errol Spence walks around buff and shit like that. Canelo is another one that definitely be walking around here at 210 pounds sometimes and shit. In between fights.
Okay. Honestly, I saw the weight and I was like, I thought, because he's always teased the idea of going up to 170. And 170
got some killers.
It has some killers, but Conor's problem is not necessarily killers. Conor's problem is his gas tank, and Conor's problem is grapplers.
I was gonna say, well, you definitely don't want to have an empty gas tank trying to run away from a killer.
Well, what I'm saying, it's grapplers in his gas tank.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying to you, Conor, is that I think once you get to the top three, Kamaru, Kobe, Makachev, I guess. Well, not Makachev. He ain't top three yet. Yeah, those two right there. I'm gonna leave it at those two. Because I'm trying to think of anybody else.
You're trying to think of somebody that Conor might be able to beat at 170?
No, I'm talking about the fact that because Conor can't beat Kobe and Kamaru. He can't.
Okay.
Because the issue with Kobe is Kobe don't really get knocked out for real. And while Kamaru was not a precision striker, he's strong as a son of a bitch, and he's decent and he can throw a punch. He's knockout artist. So, you know what I mean? Didn't knock out Kobe. So Kobe is going to be able to put a pace. He's striking better now. He has a perpetual gas tank. That would be a bad matchup. That's like a better Nate Diaz in his face.
I believe that, but when you started naming these names, when I asked that question, I was trying to find like where you were going when you started naming the names that you were naming, like in reference to Conor McGregor.
Oh, Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is the last one. Gilbert Burns. Those three individuals are probably no man's land for him, but everybody else.
At 170, I don't know, man. Like Michael Chiesa versus Conor McGregor at 170.
They got to start on the feet. Michael Chiesa is not really good with his hands.
Yeah, but if they start on the feet at 170, the bigger man can probably get the naturally smaller man to the ground.
But I think what Conor's shown us, basically to your point, is that Conor's really not a naturally smaller man. He's basically just been starving himself this entire time.
See, but
I mean, if you want to say that his best days were at a certain weight class,
but listen to that. The same goes for Michael Chiesa, who is a bigger man already that we recognize in Conor McGregor. So he is still fighting at a more natural weight than Conor McGregor at that point.
Well, all right. So this is my thought process, right? This is my thought process. At this point, Conor is just a headline fighter, right? He sells out the gate. He's basically a Nate Diaz at this point, right? He can pretty much get any fight he wants to. The thing about Conor is that Conor's immensely prideful, so he has to at least be a contender, right? I think Conor's skill set is good enough to be a contender at that weight division. He's not going to beat the top three, but I feel that he causes problems for a lot of individuals only because Conor's real problem, if you break down Conor's core problem, is really his gas tank. That's it. It's really his gas tank. He doesn't really get knocked out. You know what I mean? He may not necessarily be the best grappler, but if he actually had a gas tank, he probably could be able to.
He on his way to start getting knocked out right now.
You think so? I don't think so.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. He's been finished.
He got finished by Dustin, right? He got finished by Dustin.
Yeah, he on his way to start getting knocked out now because he ain't got no gas tank, and if he can't knock you out and he ain't got no gas tank, yeah, it's about time for him to start getting knocked out.
100%. But I mean, what I'm saying to you is that no, you're right. But what I'm saying to you is that with the gas tank thing is that that's something that honestly can be applied. Now, if he's going to do that, I mean, that's the magic question, right? The magic question is he going to do that? I mean, we saw him go into deep waters with Chad Mendes and come out and beat Chad Mendes. We saw him kind of survive with Nate Diaz and beat him in the second fight. So he has the ability. He could kind of do it. I mean, obviously, not to do the whole Faraz hobby mentality of it and be like, well, there's different body sets. There's explosive people in the X, Y, and Z.
That second Nate Diaz fight, was that at a smaller weight class?
No, I think it was the same weight class. I thought.
I would have to go back.
I don't think so. I know Conor was very adamant that he's gonna fight him at the same weight class.
Okay.
Now that could have been just hype or folklore. I mean, the Googles will decide that, but I'm pretty sure he was very vocal that he wanted to fight him again because, he took the L. You know what I'm saying? He took the L, so he's not gonna, he wanted to revenge it the same way. Kind of like with Dillashaw before he got popped, before he pissed hot. But I'm honest with what I'm saying here. I think that if you look at Conor's skill set, Conor is still dangerous within the first 2 minutes of a fight, in any fight. He's super dangerous within the first 2 minutes of the fight. More dangerous than a lot of other individuals. I think, and then if you're just going to stay away from Conor, essentially, within those 2 minutes, I mean, he's going to have his gas tank in the second. I think that certain fights are still pretty. I think he has the ability in that division to at least make himself a contender. Now, especially against like guys like Wonderboy, who has been proven that explosive fighters are his kryptonite. Against certain fighters like, even Michael Chiesa, while he is a very good grappler, like he ain't never really been hit with against a precise striker. Now, against who can I think? Who did Michael Chiesa just recently lose to?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. I'm not sure at all.
He just recently lost. There's that Brady fella that he's pretty good. There's a couple other guys in there that are pretty good. But like at the end of the day, I think that like Hamzat Chimaev, you probably shouldn't do that. But maybe it's against a Neil Magny. I think he'll knock out Neil Magny.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And you know what? Ain't no
against Bilal Muhammad, he might be able to knock out Bilal Muhammad. I mean, once you get to those like elite fellas, once you get to like Gilbert Burns, who's the UK fella, the black UK fella?
Oh, Leon Edwards,
Kamaru, Colby. Once you get in that range, but I think if Conor can get himself into the top 10, he's good.
The only
and
way,
the way UFC gonna do it.
The only way he's fighting at 170 is Nate Diaz.
But I'm telling you, Renzo, that's how it's gonna happen. They're gonna fight at 170. He's gonna beat Nate Diaz, right? And then he's like, I feel good. I'm gonna stay at this weight because at the end of the day, right? I feel good. It will stay at this weight because at the end of the day, let's be real. Let's be clear, right? Conor McGregor is in this weird paradigm, right? And the paradigm of Conor McGregor is this: he's good enough to be in the top 10. Should he be fighting in the top 10? Maybe not. Do you give Conor McGregor a tune-up fight? Are you going to have Conor McGregor fight on fight night? He's not going to do it. So because he's good enough to be a top 10, because his name states that you can't make him fight anybody worse, what are you going to do? You have to fight Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler. Like, I think he'll fight Michael Chandler
at 155.
I think he'll fight Michael Chandler. I think he'll do that. Listen, the only way I feel what I'm saying doesn't happen is if he just starts as Michael Chandler. But then if he beats Michael Chandler, who's left? Well, we know what's going to happen with Charles Oliveira. Like, we know, like, let's just say Charles Oliveira loses, right? And you have to fight Charles Oliveira. You know what's going to happen there, right?
Charles Oliveira going to beat the shit out of Conor McGregor.
He going to put him on the ground and put him in a pretzel, turn him into a pretzel.
He
going to do to
Conor McGregor.
Like, yeah. He's going to like, oh, okay, cool.
He going to do that shit for Jose Aldo. Yeah.
I mean, Conor could probably start him early. Like, one of the things I didn't state in my prediction for Charles Oliveira winning is that Charles Oliveira's chin may be a little questionable because I ain't gonna lie, Michael Chandler had him on.
That little motherfucker strong though.
He's super strong. So is Conor. At precise. So all I'm saying is that the only way because Conor, there's nothing for Conor in that division. There's at least fights in that other division. You can fight Nate Diaz, beat Nate Diaz, and then jump up and go fight Neil Magny, someone he might be able to beat. Or now Neil Magny probably going to try to wrestle the shit out of him, but I mean Conor Conor is very dangerous in that first 1 to 3 minutes. Like he's very dangerous. If you looked at it, you kind of see like that was kind of Dustin Poirier's plan. It's like we're gonna wait out the storm. All right, we see what you have afterwards. And even then, it was like, I mean, he was kicking him. Everything he threw at him, like it looked like it hurt. It looked like it hurt. You know, he jumped guillotine like a dummy. He jumped guillotine like a dummy. Mm-hmm. I think at some point in time, too, I'll say this, Conor has a lot of loyalty for his team, but he kind of might need to think about stepping away from his team.
Fighting together.
I think he might say. I think he might need to step away from his team.
Yeah, it's been a while. He should have been done that. And so I think it's too late. He might as well stay with those guys.
It's gonna look crazy if he doesn't, right? It's gonna look crazy if he doesn't.
He should have. But two losses ago, he probably should have changed his team.
Because I'm saying, like, why? We know what he's doing. Like me and you knew what Dustin was doing. He was waiting out the storm. Save some of that. Do the Yoel Romero. Chill out. Explode again. You know what I mean?
He's kind of, he don't have it.
But you're going to empty out your gas tank and then you're going to jump a guillotine on a person who, like, that was his submission?
He saw it and he had to take that opportunity, man.
And the trainers in the back, like,
easy way out, man. Was it the Rocky song? There's no easy way out. He definitely tried to take one.
That's my thought process. I think you're gonna see Conor at 170. I think it's gonna happen. It's gonna be 170, or he's gonna jump down to he's gonna actually starve himself and jump back down there so he can rematch Jose Aldo. Get another money fight.
Nah, man.
Those two.
Wouldn't necessarily be starving himself. It would just be him doing his regular thing.
Because I mean, look, there's the Max Holloway fight, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, so he has the Max Holloway fight. That's there. He has the Nate Diaz fight. That's there.
All the smart money is 155. That's dumb money at 170.
I think he can do it. Knocks out Nate. Knocks out Neil Magny. Bilal Muhammad, and there you go. He's there.
If it was boxing, that would make so much sense. But since it's the UFC and there's only one belt, yeah, man. For what? Like, yeah. Why would he
to threaten? Conor ain't gonna hold no title anymore. He just needs to look competitive.
So he will look more competitive at 155 than 170.
What's left for Conor there? All right, tell me what's left for Conor there.
Well, first of all, think about what we're saying. Think about the names we just said. Think about the names we just said at 155 as a possible fight for Conor McGregor. Just think about them. Don't say them. And you just said Neil Magny at 170. The money and the good fights are down there. Like Bilal Muhammad is not a great money fight. Neil Magny is not a great money fight. Michael Chiesa is not a great money fight. We know we ain't finna put him in anybody in there with the top 5, but anybody around the top 5 in 155 and anybody from 145 that could come up to 155 and fight. There are much better and more competitive fights for Conor McGregor at the 155 range than the shit that we could possibly see get him fucked up at 170 for little to no reward.
Okay.
Because the reward of beating a Neil Magny or Michael Chiesa
is top 10. It's top 10 in the division.
Is an ass whooping. Yeah.
It's getting crucified once you get to the top 10. Yeah, I think that's all he's looking for. Let me just say this. I just want to say this. You are right. There are bigger names that he can fight on 155 that might be a little bit more competitive. Well, no, not really. Because besides Michael Chandler, is he going to fight Islam Makhachev? No.
Nah, but it would still be a bigger and better fight.
Okay, hold on. Is he going to fight Dan Hooker?
Still a bigger and better fight.
Yeah, but these two fights, he's going to be done. You have to understand, he loses another fight at 155. He's done. We're going to call for him to retire. So
he loses another fight. He loses a fight at 170. It's the same thing.
Not necessarily. Depends on who he loses to.
Bro. Let's say they throw him in there with someone outside of the top 10. He beats them. That next fight he loses.
They're not gonna throw him with someone outside the top 10. They're gonna throw him with Nate Diaz. We know that's what they're gonna do if he goes.
Well, that's somebody outside the top 10.
Okay. Well, you're right. He is. He is.
I mean, come on. Like,
now, how is it that what's his name? All right, whatever. Continue.
Yeah, I'm just saying they definitely.
Because I mean, like, why is it when he fought what's his name that was considered like I don't know.
Which fight?
The second ranked dude. What's his name? The UK fella.
Leon Edwards.
Yeah, like Leon Edwards fought Nate Diaz, and then he got put second.
Man, Leon Edwards been the number one contender for that belt for 100,000 years. It seems like before the belt exchange hands, he probably could have had a shot at that title. It's been that long, and that's just how the UFC has worked out due to injuries and rematches and stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you. And Kamaru out here trying to make money.
Yeah. But ain't nothing for Conor up there in that welterweight division at all.
I think he's gonna do it.
Yeah, man. He's not. He just
bet on it. I think he's gonna do it.
Just look big because he ain't been able to work out. He ain't been able to do no.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. Once you said that, I was like, okay, that makes sense. I definitely agree with you. But I do also feel like a lot of him taking those pictures is to tease and keep in mind the idea of I want to be at 170.
Yeah. Look at me. I think it was more like, look at me. Guys, look at me. I'm in shape. There's a guy that just want to fight. Even though I'm at 190 pounds, I'm watching this dude fight at 155 pounds and talking about, hey, look at this. Oh, man. Nah, man. I don't think he is ever fighting at 170 again. Not unless it's a one-off with a Diaz.
I think he is, bro.
Nah.
I don't got it in him. Because I think if he beats Michael Chandler, right, which I think he could. If he beats Michael Chandler, right, then it's like, okay, what's next? You gonna fight Justin Gaethje? No. Are you gonna fight Islam? No. You know what he's gonna do?
So he ain't got nowhere to go, man. He ain't no man's land, but he's definitely not going up there with them heavy.
So what he gonna have to do? He's gonna either he can fight Max, make the money off Max, right? Him and Max gonna make that bag, and then depending on if he wins that, he can fight Nate, give that trilogy to Nate, right? And then the only thing left for him is either go up or try to campaign yourself for another fight with Dustin.
He got bad options.
He gonna go up, bro, because going up at least extends him fighting. If he loses to Dustin again, he's done. He gonna go up.
Hey,
it's
man,
happening.
Hey man, no. Like it is not
it's
worth
happening.
It for him to go up, man.
We're past worth it, brother. We're past worth it, brother. It's about making money. And right now, Conor McGregor is in this perpetual thing where his perception and the UFC's perception and his fans' perception may be higher than what his real opportunities are. At the end of the day, he's consistently in this perpetual bubble.
But higher expectations, higher than what they should be. You talking about?
You're going up, bro.
Going up is not.
You gonna see him fight. You gonna see him fight Bilal Muhammad. You gonna see him fight either. He gonna get his money. He gonna get the money. He can get the money because these are winnable fights for Conor. Michael Chandler's a winnable fight.
How can he get the money if them shits ain't on pay-per-view?
No. They're gonna make Michael Chandler a pay-per-view. And Michael Chandler. Hold on.
Yeah.
Michael Chandler's still in the top 10. If he goes and fight Max Holloway, pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Top 10.
Okay.
So those two right there. He's only, you gotta think about it. He's
And
only
we're
gonna
talking, and keep in mind, you're talking about the 155 fights. You're not talking about a
no.
170
I mean,
fight, right?
I'm not see, Renzo, I am not denying that those fights have to happen. I relinquished that point. I said, look, he has to fight those fights. He has to fight Michael Chandler because it's there, it's present. Michael Chandler gave him the alley-oop. He said, yes, thank you. Thank you. So he has to fight Michael Chandler. He has to fight Max Holloway. Those two fights are there for him, right? Regardless of whatever happens to Max Holloway and Volkanovski. If he beats Volkanovski, even better, right? Money, right? So those two fights are going to happen. After he does that, what is left? There's nothing left. All is left is just terrible options with people with less name. Islam Makhachev is not a money fight. He has to fight him. Justin Gaethje might be a money fight, but this is the thing about Justin Gaethje. I do not feel Conor wants to fight Justin Gaethje.
Nah, man.
Because Justin Gaethje,
not anymore.
Justin Gaethje it's a rough fight, bro. Everybody who's fought Justin Gaethje has inherited. Oh, Tony Ferguson. He can fight Tony Ferguson. So you might be right. So there's 3 fights for him that he can fight. Tony Ferguson will be a pay-per-view draw. And I think at this point he might be able to beat Tony Ferguson. Michael Chandler is a money draw. He can beat them. And then there's Max Holloway, regardless if he beats Max Holloway or not. You know, depending on what weight they fight at. Those are winnable fights. I think with Max, what makes it winnable for Max is that Max, we saw what happens when he fought a heavier fighter, and Conor's going to come in heavy, of course. After he's going to have to, especially seeing what Dustin Poirier did to him. Even if he loses to Max Holloway, because he's going to lose one, he probably there's a possibility of him losing one of those. Even if he loses one of those, he's going to give Nate his trilogy. That's going to be at 170. He beats Nate. He has a name behind him. He just fought Michael Chandler. He just fought Tony Ferguson. He just fought X, Y, and Z. If he beats Nate, give him a title shot. You only takes 2 fights in the title shot anyways. You know it's a formula. You've said it multiple times on the podcast. He beats Nate, put him against Bilal Muhammad or somebody. Cowboy was on a downturn when he fought Cowboy. It was a layup. It was a layup. Only the purists thought that Cowboy was going to beat him. He beats Bilal Muhammad and Neil Magny. Gets sacrificed to Colby Covington. Him and Colby Covington will make so much money.
You definitely don't get a title shot after defeating those 2 guys in that division.
So what?
You don't get a championship fight after beating those 2 guys in that division.
Rene Diaz and Neil Magny?
Yeah. You don't get a title shot after them. You get into the top 5.
Listen, what I'm saying to you is that Colby Covington is not the title holder. Number 1. I said him against Colby Covington. I don't think he's going to make it to Kamaru. I think me and you both, we're generally agreeing with each other. You just don't like what I'm saying. This is what he's going to end up doing because this is what his name is going to make him do. And this is what, at the end of the day, he's trying to siphon as much money as possible. That's what he's trying to do.
So we're not saying the same thing because to siphon the most money as possible, you'll fight your ass down there at 155.
But I gave you the fights at 155.
Listen, you listen to what I'm saying. Listen, please listen. You gave me the fights at 155. All those fights that you said at 155 can be on pay-per-view, can make money.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Chiesa is not a pay-per-view fight. Nate Diaz is only a pay-per-view fight because of the history between those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like the money to be made.
He was a pay-per-view fight against what's his name? That was a pay-per-view fight.
Hold on. What are you arguing? What are you arguing right now? Because what I'm saying is Michael Chiesa versus Conor McGregor is not a pay-per-view fight. Like
you're right.
It's not a pay-per-view fight. So that'll be Nate Diaz being a pay-per-view fight only because of the first 2 fights and the history that's involved in it. You know what I'm saying? Not like them as they are right now as fighters, not a pay-per-view fight, but the history makes it a pay-per-view fight.
Cowboy wasn't a pay-per-view fight, bro.
Say it again.
Cowboy wasn't a pay-per-view fight.
Cowboy was.
Conor made that pay-per-view fight.
Okay. Cowboy wasn't a pay-per-view fight. So I'm saying all of the money is tied to pay-per-view for Conor in the UFC because of the points or whatnot. So the money for Conor to be made is to be made staying far away from 170 because of the kind of guys he'll have to go through to get to the money fights. The money fights are just right there sitting on the table at 155, no matter who you get in there with.
What I'm saying to you, and maybe I didn't eloquently say this, is that those 170 fights are going to be pay-per-view fights off the strength of two things: Conor McGregor and his fanfare, and people just buy pay-per-views whenever Conor fights regardless, and the fact that the challenge. So why I named the Bilal Muhammad's or the Neil Magny's or whatever, or even the Wonderboys, the reason why I named these individuals, because these are individuals who, A, may not necessarily fare as well or may not be as one-sided if he fights, and B, there are presented challenges, they're in the top 10, and Conor's namesake can carry them to a pay-per-view fight status. If he fights Wonderboy, it's going to be a pay-per-view. If he fights Neil Magny, that may not be a paper. That might be a hard stretch because we just really haven't seen Neil Magny. We haven't seen Neil Magny on pay-per-view in a whole while. We've at least seen Bilal Muhammad on pay-per-view.
In sports, especially in combat sports as a whole, there have been a whole bunch of fights on pay-per-view that aren't pay-per-view fights.
I understand that.
Okay, so if we can both accept that, any fight you put Conor in with anybody in the UFC can be a pay-per-view fight.
Okay.
But having said that, with real competition and other names, you make more money. Like, he's not going to make as much money fighting Chiesa as he will anybody at 155. And a Chiesa is one of those guys that would be one of the first two people he would have to fight at 170.
You can avoid Chiesa. You can fight Wonderboy.
And he will make more money against someone other than it works with it works. You put anybody up there other than Nate Diaz, anybody at 170. Conor McGregor makes more money fighting one of those 155ers as far as pay-per-view points are concerned.
But what I'm saying to you is this, Renzo. I've never denied that. What I'm saying to you is this is the competition. After he beats the names that we've just named, the competition is too stiff. So either his only choice would be to retire at that point. If he fights those fights and he wins those fights, he's had to retire. If he stays at 155, it's an ass whooping outside of the names we named. It's an ass whooping. Unless Conor metamorphosizes and goes back to skinny Conor with the ponytail. Unless he goes back to that dude, it's an ass whooping. So you feel what I'm saying? Like, it's an ass whooping. So I understand what you're saying. That okay, maybe, but let's be real. Okay, so he beats Chandler. He beats Chandler, and then he goes. Let's say he beats Holloway, and then he goes and he beats Ferguson. What's left for him? He has to fight Islam. He has to fight Oliveira. He has to fight Dustin. He has to fight the only one that makes sense for him if he fights Dustin.
Fam, to me, all I'm saying is with that scenario you just painted, all right, you can ride off into the sunset if you're in a position where now you have to fight Islam and those guys, right? That's basically let these young niggas have it, right? Whereas in the higher division, you know what you gotta get to? You gotta go through shit to get to that point. You ain't even you're not even gonna fight in Khamzat Chimaev because the champion is somebody you don't even really want to fight. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think he'll fight Kamaru. He'll fight Kamaru. You have to make it reasonable because he'll make his money off Kamaru. He'll fight Kamaru.
Yeah, man. Be that as it may, the champion is somebody you can't even beat. The champion is somebody you would avoid. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's
Like
fair.
that's yeah, man. It would make no sense for him to fight at 170 other than a Nate Diaz.
He gonna do it.
Yeah. But this is just he look big right now because he's hurt. He's been working out.
100%. I agree with you 100% on that. And I agree with a lot of the points you're saying. I think it's just that one element that we're disagreeing on. Like, I'm telling you, he's going to do it because he doesn't have a choice and he's not willing to retire. He's not. If he beats any of those individuals, he's not retiring. Let him knock out the Michael Chandler. He's not retiring. Let him beat Max. He's not retiring. If he beats Tony, he's not retiring. He's going to stick around. So the only thing that's left for him, the only thing that's left for him is fights that Conor himself knows he can't win. At least he might be able to do something to Michael Chiesa. He might be able to do something to Wonderboy. He has no chance of doing anything against Islam Makhachev. He doesn't have a chance. Islam Makhachev is Khabib with hands. You don't have a chance with that.
So why do you believe he'll fight at 170 if you're saying
because
that?
Those individuals, he has a chance. He has a better chance with those individuals than he does with that. And then there's the mysticism of him actually trying to be triple champ and going to get another belt. It's not going to happen, but he can kind of fiddle around and fight some ready-made fights. And like I said, his fan base is good enough to make him. All Conor has to do is win, and he's a pay-per-view. It's a pay-per-view fight. If anything will tell you, look at what's his name? He's not main event. He's not main event anymore. And maybe that's what we're talking about. Maybe that's the differentiation of what we're saying. He's not main event anymore. He might have to be co-main. If he's still getting main events after he lost to Dustin Poirier, then what are we doing?
Nah, man, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm talking about Conor McGregor making money, and that's what he's here for now at the end of the day, because he's not out here for belts.
Mm-hmm.
Like the money fights are the 155, all the 155 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the money fights are not the 170 guys because the top guys are too hard. And the other guys, the guys on the fringes, they're hard, but their names aren't big enough to garner 1 million pay-per-view buys.
You feel Wonderboy's hard?
You need, you need a dance partner. Like, Wonderboy would be hard for Conor McGregor because Conor McGregor is all about precision, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so is Wonderboy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an easy fight, and he's just as long, definitely longer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a hard ass fight. A karate dude fight off the front foot. Yeah. It
is. But Wonderboy, I feel, has a big enough name, and on top of that, Wonderboy has also shown that explosive. That's
not what I'm saying at all, man. I'm not saying that these guys.
I wasn't done, but all right, go ahead.
Yeah. At this point, Conor McGregor is Schlaw at 170.
Yeah.
He can't win those fights at all, and he wouldn't make as much. Well, he can win those fights possibly, but he wouldn't make as much money winning those fights as he would winning or competing in the fights at 155.
Okay.
And at this point, Conor McGregor's out here to make money. He ain't out here to put on shows for the fans for real.
Okay. I am not disagreeing with anything you're saying. What I'm saying to you is that after the laid out fights that he can win at 155 are done, Conor's ego is not going to allow him to be a sacrificial lamb for Islam Makhachev or whatever. So it's either retire or move. So he can either move down or he can move up, but he can't stay there. Now, if somehow beating those fights that we said somehow puts him in front of whoever the champion is in that division, then he'll do that. He'll do that. But if he does not, if winning those fights does not put him in that position, do you honestly think he's going to get in front of Justin Gaethje? Justin Gaethje is going to whip his ass way worse than Michael Chiesa is.
I don't believe that Conor McGregor is trying to fight like that. I'm talking about him looking for money fights. The money fights are down there. I don't believe he's looking for a super tough fight, is what I'm saying. A super tough fight that he can lose and not make the most money out of. Like, so everybody above 170 is out of the question. Conor McGregor ain't got that many more fights in him. So winning 2 or 3 at 155 and then like avoiding those guys at 155 at the end of the day, I'm not concerned about that because I don't see that as a possibility at all. Like, I know that he wouldn't go up to 170 at that point at all because he would have way too many miles on him to move up at that point.
So you think? Oh, so basically, you're saying after those fights, he's retired.
Yeah, like basically that's been what I've been saying the whole time. Conor only got but so many fights in him left as a UFC fighter.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
That's a point of disagreement.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's gonna be done. If he wins those fights, especially if it's competitive, if he wins those fights and it's competitive, I just don't see him being done. And I could be wrong, and you could be. And listen. Our disagreements holds,
but at what weight class?
Huh?
But at what weight class is what I'm saying, bro. Like at what weight class? You think he can be competitive at what weight class?
I'm saying if Conor wins those fights that we just talked about, we just laid out, and he's like
at which weight class?
At 155.
At 155, okay.
We've already, but Renzo, we've already agreed that he's going to stay at 155 when he comes back. He has some fights laid out for him that he can actually do that are actual winnable fights. Okay. We agreed to that. We agreed that those fights are going to happen. We said Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, Max Holloway. Those are the 3 fights he has. Those are 3 fights that he can possibly win. Those are 3 fights he can make the most money on. Now, if he retires after that, okay. And I agree with you, he probably should. What I'm saying to you is that understanding and studying this fighter's temperament, if he is competitive and or dominating in any of those fights, Conor McGregor is not retiring. That's all I'm saying to you. Unfortunately for Conor McGregor, because of how he is, because of how popular he is, so on and so forth, because of that, Conor McGregor is in this weird conundrum. The obvious choice between, if we're honest, the obvious choice is to not take a fight in the top 10. Fight someone lower, build up, maybe switch your training camp or whatever the case may be, come back better.
And this is
the obvious choice. He's not going to do that.
And this is after, in this part right here, this is after the 2 or 3 wins at 155. This is moving up, right?
No, I'm talking about in 155.
Okay.
The obvious choice for Conor, honestly, he shouldn't even take those fights. Maybe take Max Holloway. Maybe take Tony Ferguson. You know what I mean? Maybe work his way up, fight some lower guys, maybe some top 15 guys, some guys into 11s and 12s or whatever, see if he can work that and use that as fodder to get himself back up, and then maybe fight Michael Chandler, and then go fight X, Y, and Z. Because Michael Chandler is going to stick around for a while, unless he loses like 2 or 3 more fights, and then, you know how the UFC do it, right? Michael Chandler's going to be around for at least 2 or 3 years, right? Conor can want to be active. He can take some tomato cans, right?
But bro, how old is Conor? How old is Conor?
Conor, I don't think he's that old, honestly. I don't think he's that old. That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because please take into consideration, we're talking about 3 and 4 years right here. We're talking about up until 2025, 2026.
Yeah, but in UFC years, that's not 3 years is not long in UFC years. That's 1 or 2 fights.
Man, not when you walking around at 190 for real. Like, it's different. Like, he ain't gonna be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, in real life.
That's a fair point. Cutting weight for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, like,
that is definitely a fair point. He's 33.
Yeah, 30. Yeah, so we're talking about 36 years old, 36. Fighting a top level fighter at 155. or fighting a top 10 guy at 170?
If he beat, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. The guy's not very active. The guy's not very active. He fights every 1 or 2, 3 years. I mean, if you think about it, like how much damage has really been put on that man's body for real?
A bunch, man. The man got stress fractures.
Is that what his leg is that what's on his legs?
Those are stress fractures. That's what happened. Like he hurt that shit before.
According to the UFC PA, it's not.
I mean, look. You know what I'm saying? His mom named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. You know what I'm saying? He said it.
I was saying, go to the UFC. Them niggas said, "Oh no, he was good to fight. He was good. He was great to fight." I was like,
the same thing with Teofimo Lopez. Don't you put that evil on us? You know what I'm saying? That boxing commission said, hey, we first and foremost, you have to have a whole thing for that right there, and we don't do that whole thing before the fight. That's some after the fight shit. First and foremost, his other doctor should have caught that shit. But yeah,
according to them, his leg was just fine.
Yeah, it was fine yesterday. He wasn't limping or anything. Must have been that cortisone. Must have one of them varsity blues shots. So go ahead and take this needle in that leg straight up.
So I'm only going about what the UFC is acknowledging happened. And according to the UFC, he didn't have stress factors. He got a stress factor fighting Dustin Poirier. But anyways, look. I think at this point, I think we've gone far enough. Hey, guys, let us know what you think. Let us know in the comments. We've definitely seen some uptake. Is that your boys from, tell me who they are again, Renzo?
Hey, man, just some boxing dudes I know from the internet. You know what I'm saying? They definitely
shout out the org, man.
What I'm saying? LDBC, man, all the people that I know in the chat rooms from the Boxing Voice and other YouTube channels and stuff like that, man. Thank you guys for coming by and showing some love and just witnessing the shit that we're doing over here.